Insta360, new tools for intuitive VR production. So please welcome Max Richter.
That's great. Hey, everybody. My name is Max. I'm working at Insta360. I'm leading the global marketing team. I guess most of you guys are familiar with our company. We are on the market now since several years. Most of you guys have been known as for our consumer cameras when we started our business in 2014. But since last year at the CES, we announced the Pro camera actually, and that's where we really got into the professional space. So throughout the last year, we've been exploring ways how to work with professional creators and helping you guys to get better tools for content creation. And we are really proud today to be part of that IVRPA audience, but also being part as a camera manufacturer. In this presentation, we not want to talk too much about our cameras. We really want to talk more about the workflow. I think that's something that has been missing with a lot of the specs talk, with like 8K, 10K, and all this discussion about what's the best resolution, what's the best specific tool set you need for your VR creation. I think at this time, or at this stage, VR really needs a better and more efficient workflow. And the technology needs to be adapted by a broader range of creators. So our mission is really to enable that for you guys. And we think there's currently 3 challenges for virtual reality and 360 VR production, which is firstly just the production workflow itself. Like that has really a lot to do with the cameras, how you operate it, what you do with it. But then it's also about the post-production. You know, we had Chris from Adobe speaking here, how he's talking with you guys how to improve the workflows for Adobe Premiere or Photoshop or the whole creative suite. So that's another bottleneck that we see is pretty clear. But then also for the distribution side, we have cameras that now shoot 10K, 12K resolution, but how you guys actually want to distribute that. I think it's a huge problem that we have this super high resolution cameras, but how are we gonna bring it to the end users and your customers? So our mission is really like, as I said before, is to make the VR production as simple and as efficient as possible. And we want to really bring it to the level of traditional 360 video production. That's our whole mission. We see 360 not as something that should be separated from the traditional film industry. We really think in the future this will be an integral part, not only for the professional space, but also for our consumer cameras. Probably most of you guys know the Insta360 one. We also introduced some very intuitive features to bring it to more mass audiences. So for us, it's all about making it as most efficient, as simple for the brightest range of content creators. And that's actually also something that our founder and CEO, JK, was really thinking about when he started our company in 2014. He actually is a software engineer, so he's not really coming from the hardware side, but he figured out that in order to build a good camera, you need good software, you need good workflows to make it easier for you guys. A quick recap about the Insta360 Pro. The camera is now already on the market since almost 1.5, 2 years. We've seen a lot of applications, a lot of success with this camera. When we announced it with Michael Tai, which we also had the workshop on Monday with, at CES in 2017, we saw really mind-blowing feedback. And I think right now we can say that this is probably the most used 360 VR camera out there. I think it's not only because it has powerful features as high resolution or really high quality content creation, it's also really versatile. So you can shoot stereoscopic, you can do monoscopic, but you can also do broadcasting, live streaming in 360. That's all possible with this camera. We have onboard quick stitching, we have convenient portable and light design, so you guys can really bring it anywhere. And I really want to guide you through some of the applications that we've seen so far. Just recently at the Tribeca Film Festival, we had the My Africa VR documentary being nominated as one of the pieces and being selected as one of the showcases. And you can see here, like, this camera is really like one of the Time magazine editors call it a workhorse, a VR camera workhorse for the industry. And I think that's what it really is. Like, you can see in the desert, in extreme heating conditions, it's still performing surprisingly well. And this goes on like to broadcasters like Time Magazine, who've been using that camera for solar eclipse event in the US last year and get a lot of views with their 360 broadcasting, not only distributing it directly to Facebook and YouTube, but also to their own VR app and own VR website. Another use case that another sponsorship that we've been very proud of last year was the VR for Good initiative by Oculus. So we sponsored the whole camera hardware for all these creators participating in this program, and this program was all about capturing virtual reality content for a good purpose, for a social cause, and raising awareness with virtual immersive content for these specific social causes. One example here is a psychologist in New York City who's been using this camera to capture moments of his patients that have fear of. So the idea is that with virtual reality, you can actually overcome your fears and capture very immersive content situations that you would actually be scared of to relive in real life. And this really helps his patients to overcome their fears. Here's another example for VR media documentary content creation. In CNN VR have been using this camera also very extensively, not only like for content creation, but also for broadcasting. They also had a similar project at a solar eclipse event. And also from them, the feedback was great. Very close partners with us who really trust these cameras. Then another feature actually that we announced last year here also in Tokyo, I remember it was almost same time last year ago, we announced that the Pro camera is actually ready for Google Street View. So right now it's still the only camera that is actually Google Maps Street View ready. How it works is you attach a GPS dongle directly on the USB port of your camera. You switch into the Google Street View mode, you mount it on your car, you mount it on your backpack, you walk through the landscapes, through rural areas, and you got that GPS information directly synchronized with your footage. And this also enables you a very smooth workflow to actually upload that content to the Google Street View cloud. So once you captured everything with the GPS data, you open our software, the Insta360 Stitcher, and then you upload it directly to Google. So this was also really a breakthrough, I think, and also democratization of how you capture Google Street View content. Think about like tourist boards or poorer areas who maybe couldn't afford or where Google couldn't afford to put a whole car fleet there. You just use this camera that's very affordable, very accessible for a wide range of people and capture that virtual reality tours. But now let's really talk about the challenges, and let's go back to where this presentation started with our 3 bottlenecks. And first one about the production side, the number 1 challenge we see here is remote monitoring and controlling. You see Philip Bloom here in the background, who's one of our content partners. And not only his feedback, but based on several features, also a lot from you guys who sit here in the audience was, yeah, we have that Wi-Fi technology that enables you to have a video transmission and control connected with your camera and your iPad or iPhone, but it was really the issue we saw, it was not that stable, and also the quality was really a bottleneck. And this really can apply to a lot of different case scenarios. Think about you were doing virtual tours. You don't want to be in the picture with virtual reality or 360. You want to be out of the picture. And let's say you shoot something in another room, and there's no option to hide yourself with the Wi-Fi connection. But now we found a way, or we developed a way where this is actually possible to enable smooth and reliable transmission signals. Coming back, my personal background was from DJI. I come from DJI. I worked at DJI before. We also had similarities here with the drone industry. And I think that's very similar to what I see with the 360 VR right now. There have been also bottlenecks, you couldn't fly that far away. You had very unsteady synchronization and Wi-Fi connections, but then they came up with a technology called DJI Lightbridge, which was enabling really far and reliable video transmission. So today we're really proud to bring that technology to 360 VR production, and how we call it is the Insta360 Farsight, which for the first time or first ever world premiere is a video transmission signal that has high definition, reliable and durable connection for you guys to capture VR content. And we really think that this technology will help more creators with daily situations. So here you have a quick overview how it actually works. You connect it regularly with the Ethernet, with the USB port to your Pro camera, and then it will basically use that sender to transport real-time images in very high definition, up to 1080p, full HD, to your iPad, to your iPhone, or any other portable device, to your laptop, and you get a really steady control and preview of what you actually see. Here's some of the specs. We have 1080p video permission. We have up to 2 to 3 kilometer range, so that's pretty impressive when you think about what is currently available with traditional Wi-Fi connections. So you can really go up to 2 or 3 kilometers away, which I think brings this whole 360 creation to a whole different level. It's on 5.8 gigahertz broadbands. So it's a very steady and stable signal. You will not get any interference with, let's say, if you're in a busy environment like a stadium or in this room right now where there's a lot of Wi-Fi signals, where there's a lot of 4G signals happening. This will really be running independently. You have an ultra low latency, so you actually see what's happening at the moment, not like Wi-Fi where there's a latency of around 1 or 2 seconds. We have 32 channels, dynamic switching. This is also just for optimizing on the go what you want to choose, which channel you want to choose. And it will be available for Mac, Windows, iPhone, Android, for whole platforms will be supported. So you're flexible in which device you're actually using. Thank you. Then let's come to the number 2 challenge, which is actually stitching. And I think a lot of you guys have a lot of experience with that. Stitching, there's a lot of software, a lot of solutions available on the market. And for me, when I got into 360 VR, this was one of the problems. I had to adopt myself or learn a lot about all these different stitching technology and softwares, workflows that are on the market. And it was also, for me, a lot of time investment. I had to really learn how it works. I had to understand the whole workflow that was associated with it. But apart from that, you actually also really invest a lot of time in the actual stitching process. And a lot of the times, you also waste a lot of time actually stitching footage that you don't really need. Like, let's say you have a 30-minute video, but in the end, there will be like 3 to 5 minutes which are part of your video. So you waste a lot of time of content being stitched that is not actually used. Well, today we announced that our partnership with Adobe and our plugin that we developed in partnership with Adobe is actually available within the next few days, and you guys are able to be downloading that very soon from our website. We had a whole workshop around this with Michael Tai before, but we're very proud today to say that the beta is ready. You guys can check it out, go to our website and have a try. We think this will change stitching and workflow, post-production workflow tremendously and bring it to the whole level. Here's an overview just to emphasize again the different steps that have been involved into this whole stitching algorithm workflow. The old one has basically been you import it to our Insta360 stitcher, you select the footage you want to have, you export a stitched footage, and then you actually only start to create your Premiere projects. Then you import the stitched footage, you edit it, and then you export it again. You can see there's a lot of workflows and steps that are actually not necessary. So what we did is you only open Premiere, you import the unstitched footage, and then you actually start editing. Like you edit your normal video content. So it's really that simple. You don't need to do any stitching anymore. It's all happening right within the video editing software. And that's something that we think will be the future, that we really democratize this tech, make it as easy as possible, and bring it to the widest range of creators possible. In total, this will enable you to work up to 10 times faster, which is tremendously, and I think will save you guys a lot of time when you do actually the content creation process. Yeah, so this tool will be available now to download. You're welcome to check it out. We also have a very active community on Facebook We invite you to share your feedback there, and we will immediately pick that up and improve it further. Here's a quick video that explains this in a very brief summary. So let's have a look.
To start, I'll import my footage into Adobe Premiere Pro using the new extension. You can choose to import monoscopic or stereoscopic content captured by the Insta360 Pro. Here I'm grabbing 3 separate 8K scenes and importing them. This footage is still totally unstitched. You can see in the bottom left, I've got 3 videos. I can review this footage immediately after I've imported it. The footage will play back at a reduced frame rate based on the performance of my computer and stitch in real time so that I can easily see how the final result will look. Next, I'll add one of these clips to my timeline. As I play back the footage in my new sequence, it's also stitched together in real time. The frame rate and resolution are reduced to ensure smooth performance, but if I'd like to get more precise, I can scroll through my original material, frame by frame. Now I'll repeat the process with my remaining 2 clips, easily reviewing, editing, and merging them with the other footage on my timeline. I'm also free to add transitions, text, and any other effects as I normally would, even though my original footage is still not stitched. The final step is to export the video. It's at this final step that the full quality footage is stitched together using Insta360's optical flow stitching algorithm. And the key is that I'm only stitching the footage that I ended up using in my final project. I've wasted no time stitching together super high resolution footage that ends up getting left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, so that's our new plugin, and we really encourage you guys to download and try it by yourself. We really think this is a great way to further improve our daily workflows and daily cutting and editing post-production work. Just to sum it up, here are the key benefits: no stitching time before editing, smooth and efficient performance, so you may actually use of your computer's resources the best way. You only stitch what you will actually use, and you minimize the compression. And I think by doing that, we will really go a big step further in VR production. Then let's come to the third challenge, which is what I a little bit talked about before. Like, we have these cameras that capture nowadays 10K resolution, 12K resolution content, but what do you actually do with that? Most of the time it's being down-res to like 4K video, 4K 30 frames per second playback, but how do you actually want to deliver that high resolution footage that you're shooting? So what we did is a new technology, and we call it Crystal View. And Crystal View is a super high resolution video format that is developed for your smartphones and headsets to deliver high super resolution content in up to 8K or up to even like 12K video content. And we call it Crystal View. It's basically enabling you to play back this footage on any local device like headphones, your Google phone, or any other sorts of Oculus Go headsets. How this technology works is that you actually this technology will only render the perspective that you look at. So if you think about a spherical image, it will only render what you're currently looking at with your eyes. And this technology enables this way that we focus our rendering power and our rendering performance only on what you actually see. And this way it's possible to play back that super high-res videos. And this is really a big difference. We encourage you guys to check out our booth. We have some headsets there. 8K and 4K is a huge difference. If you look actually on even on a Samsung Gear VR headset or on an Oculus Go, you will see there's a huge difference in what the quality is and the details and what you actually capture with it. Here's a quick overview about the workflow. So you shoot 8K footage on the Insta360 Pro. You convert it to a dedicated file format that we call Crystal View format on your PC with our stitching software, and then you play it back on the Insta360 player in up to 8K resolution. And we will use this format not only for local playback, it will also be available for live streaming and later on for on-demand video. And this format will then be available for iOS, for Android, for Oculus Go and Gear VR. And the exciting thing is also that we open up an SDK dedicated for that Crystal View format, so you can make use of that SDK and create it or integrate it into your own platform. We really think like this is a way to contribute further for the VR distribution part. Like we don't want you to use, you can use our player, but you're really free to choose how you want to actually distribute that. So I think that's something really interesting for you guys as well, that you can actually make use of that technology and build it into your own platforms. So this will be available later this summer, and we're going to roll it out then broadly for all these different platforms. I really encourage you guys to check it out at our booth. We have some headsets prepared there to make further use of that. So yeah, these were our 3 topics. We had the production side with Insta360 far side, which is a whole new, which brings like the whole video transmission and production workflow to a whole new level. You're much more flexible how you shoot it. You can extend really the transmission or distance between you and the camera and make it much more reliable, like really smooth video transmission. The next thing is the Adobe Pro integration that we worked on with Adobe, which will be available this week, so you guys encouraged to check that out, and also the Crystal View for the distribution of high-resolution super res content that you can not only use with our players, with content captured by our camera, but also for you guys to distribute it on your own channels. And with this, I'd like to thank you guys for listening to our quick introduction of our new features. We're very happy to be here at this conference. It's our first time, but I hope there will be a lot of conference who follow in the next few years. And we really encourage you guys, check out our booth. For further questions, you can come by anytime. And also really thank you guys a lot for being part of that community and using our products. Thank you very much.